I'm Emily Caulton, and I'm 22, which took a while to think about. I'm Emily Caulton, I'm 22, and I'm from London.
Perfect. So, Emily, I know you from first year because we go way back.
Yeah. I think it's the first week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was during freshers.
Well, yeah. I remember you sat down at our lunch table and we were like, who are these cool cats?
I don't think that's how it went. I'm sure I looked like a numpty. I was so nervous. Anyways, I'm gonna take it a little further back and ask you what your earliest memory is.
God, I was actually just thinking about this the other day, weirdly. My earliest memory, actually when I was really young, so I think I must have probably 2, which I know sounds, people sometimes often are like, I remember when I was a baby. It's like, no, you don't. But, I remember when I was 2, and I was just being picked up. It's such a weird memory, because it's nothing special at all. I was just being picked up, I think probably by my dad, and I just remember what it was like to be picked up and, like, to kind of see over his shoulder. And it was just going into one room and the other, and it's just so weird that it stuck. I don't know why it stuck. Yeah, that's
just the most vivid memory that you have.
Well,
like some of the early, like, you just have vivid little flashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing special is happening. I mean, I sometimes think that I also remember kind of lying in a cot and people looking up, but to be fair, things you're like, did it happen, did it not? And I don't think I'd remember that. So yeah, I'd say the earliest memory I have is just like being 2 and not worrying. I remember it was very nice to like not think about the future or the past.
Because there wasn't
it's just kind of like you just lived in there. Yeah.
And you're a twin.
Yeah.
Yes. How was it growing up with someone just side by side?
It was really cool. I think a lot from what I've spoken to about like other twins with other twins, there's always that thing where at the beginning it's freaking great because you're with somebody and you're not alone and it's nice. Early teens, it's more difficult because you're compared constantly. If you have a twin that's the same gender, you're constantly compared, and that's not anybody kind of doing it in a malicious way. And actually, my parents and my whole family, they never compared us, me and Flora. Actually, they were really good with that.
That's good.
But people just do because they'd compare the way you look, they compare the way you are and how you're sort of developing differently and stuff. So it was really lovely as a child. It got a little bit more difficult early teens, but we always got on so well. That was the main thing.
What do you think are the main differences between you and Flora?
Well, the main differences. Well, we're similar in the way we're both creative, which is really nice because, we're not polar opposites, which means we've got things to connect with. We've got very similar sense of humour, which is great. I'd say the differences for sure are she's a lot more sensible than I am, I would say, and she's quieter, she's a more private person than I am. I'm really kind of weirdly open person. I just kind of like share everything.
Perfect for this.
Overshare everything. But she's much more private and she's more reserved really. So I'd say those are the main differences, and I think it's always been like that in some way. Even when we were babies, my grandma used to be like, Flora would just sort of sit there and look kind of pensive, and I'd just be like laughing my head off.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Is the rest of your family in London? Were you always close in proximity to your extended family growing up?
Yeah. I don't have an extended family really. Okay. It's like we're really tiny family. There's 9 of us, like the overall blood relatives at all.
On both sides?
Yeah, both sides. We're just a very tiny family. I've only got one cousin, got 2 aunts, 1 uncle, so it's like, it's just very, and on my mum's side, my aunt and uncle didn't have children, so only one cousin, and it's nice in some ways, but then there's also that thing where I sometimes crave like a big family get together, but but they were all in London apart from my grandma who lived in Bristol.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's not many people to be spread around, to be honest.
What was it like growing up in London? Like growing up in a metropolis, if you will?
Yeah, it was... To be honest, I didn't live in central London, so it's not this sort of, when people say, oh, I live in London, I suppose the same if you lived in Paris or something, you just think of the Eiffel Tower and all that, and it's actually, obviously a lot more kind of, it was much more on the suburbs, it's always been Chiswick. So I was sort of surrounded by a lot of young families, wealthy families, white families, and, that's, I suppose if you don't know anything else, it's fine. But I prefer the inner city, to be honest, just to be more eclectic, more to do. But yeah, it was fine. It was safe. Like, it was really cushy.
How do you think where you grew up shaped who you are, if it did at all?
I think it shaped me in the way I was very sheltered, and I still am in a lot of ways. I think, I can imagine growing up somewhere like, not to kind of... stereotype, but somewhere like East London or something where you've got a much more of a mix of different, if you want to call it social classes, all that kind of thing, and different economies. It's probably a bit more worldly. It was very sheltered, especially because I went to, in my school, it was all girls, which was amazing, and I wouldn't change that at all, because that was wonderful. But what it meant was I didn't even know that sexism existed until I got to university, because it was from 5 to 18 that I was there. So, overall I think just where I grew up, including my school, was just, very sheltered.
Yeah. And what was your sexist, realization?
I met a few people who, and they really did have views that I didn't know existed anymore, which is so naive.
Yeah.
But growing up in an all-girls school, I hadn't had much exposure to men at all, to be honest, which I know is in a way really stereotypical kind of nunnery type thing. But, that was just me. A lot of my friends obviously knew lots of guys. I didn't really, and especially not guys that had those views. So to sort of come here as a fresher to St Andrews and have people say things like, if you have children, you have to stay at home. And, if you're a bad mum if you go to work and things, those were things that were just absolutely didn't even cross my mind as possibilities, that you'd have that kind of judgment hanging over you as a woman. And especially because my head teacher, she was so kind of pro banging that out of us, to try and prepare us for thinking in a kind of feminist way. She used to say, you can have it all, you can go to work, you can have children, you can have a wonderful life just like a man, without having to feel guilty about it. But then obviously you meet people and they say you should feel guilty about certain things, and that was my first time I realised.
Was that what your family portrayed to you as well, like your mom and dad? How did their relationship
in terms of sort of feminist views?
Or just, what did you see from them that either, shaped how you thought about, I guess, those roles? And
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. To be honest, I had an incredibly traditional upbringing, which was nice because it counterbalanced. And there's nothing wrong with that, because both my mum and dad were that was what they wanted. But it was very traditional. My dad went to work, my mum stayed at home, looked after us. And dad was, when we were younger, he wasn't very involved in bringing us up. But as we grew older, it was much more mum's responsibility to kind of confide us, I think in part because we were girls as well. But, so it was really, really sort of traditional in that sense. Not that they're very traditional people, it's just... And they weren't strict or anything like that.
Yeah.
Weren't religious at all or anything. It's just, that dynamic was just the typical dynamic of him having a 9-to-5 job, going to work every day, and her staying home and looking after the children.
What parts of your parents do you think do you see most in yourself?
I see a lot of my mum in me, a lot.
How so?
a lot of anxiety, a lot of, which doesn't define how I'm also, that's a whole, no, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, you know, in good ways as well though, like, you know, she cares a lot about things, and so do I. You know, I'm quite a sort of sensitive person. I care an awful lot about pretty much everything. It can get quite annoying sometimes. So those two things, I think particularly, I really see in how we have similar personalities, which I think we can help each other in that way as well. That's the thing. Well, she helps me just kind of deal with that as well, because she understands. My dad, I don't feel I have too much in common with him in terms of my personality. Flora is more chill like him, really. And I'm the opposite of that, so it's kind of like it's difficult to see parts of my personality in him. But I think, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'd say it's difficult to find traits that I think are the same as mine. But yeah.
How would you describe 10-year-old Emily?
My eyes just widened then as Kate said that. Very wild, and quite strange. To be honest, I was bit.
Do you have a story that encapsulates it?
Oh God, so many.
Or like around that age.
Oh gosh, I just didn't really care. Like I didn't care about what people thought about me, which meant I was very weird for a long time. I'm trying to think of one specific example. I think it was also because the influence of my friends as well. We all didn't really care. I was quite tomboyish. Like, I didn't really think about sort of pretty things very much, just because that's not really how we were brought up, kind of girly girls. Or I just remember some of the outfits that I wore were really terrible.
Describe one.
Well, the thing is, my favourite outfit, I didn't really sort of get, well, I still haven't really ever got into fashion, to be honest, or like any clothes particularly, but particularly then my favourite outfit was something which was functional. So I had khaki shorts.
Wait, what does that mean? What are khaki shorts?
Khaki, like, you know, the colour, like khaki.
Oh.
Well, you sort of say
khaki.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like using car keys.
Oh, no,
like,
that would be insane.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, that kind of green, but like baggy.
Yeah.
And then a white top with a dog on it, so I was like, fashion. And then I don't know, I just had trainers or something, so I was like very kind of not into clothes, which I'm still not to some extent, but.
If you were to assign a catchphrase to 15-year-old Emily, or like what was her catchphrase?
Catchphrase, like in terms of just what she'd live by.
Yeah, what she'd live by, or like something she always said. I think mine would be like, I don't care.
Yeah, 15-year-old Emily was very going through a lot of mental health issues. I'd probably just be like, I remember I used to think too much into my own thoughts, so a lot of the time I don't know how I'd say this in a catchphrase, but I guess I'd just be like, you know, I really need like help, pretty much. Which is you can laugh about it looking back, but it
is quite like wise in a way. If your catchphrase was "I need help," I mean.
That's not changed. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I did think I needed help. The trouble is, it's very difficult to get help with mental health issues. In my school, obviously, I was lucky because they had the funding to have a counsellor, but it wasn't counselling that I needed. It was some form of medication, really.
Yeah.
And that I didn't get that until I was 21. So for about the age of 13 to 21.
Had you tried to get medication before then, or was
it was tricky because it was this kind of weird line that was being drawn between, I wasn't sure whether I was unhappy most of the time, but it was difficult to kind of express that. I tried my best to express it, but I also had this terrible fear of being called a drama queen, which really kind of prevented me from. I mean, I did seek help, and I kind of tried to show it to my parents, but it's difficult, you know, if you've got a kid that does that, you know, you're told anyway, oh, you're supposed to expect mood swings, you're supposed to be grumpy, you're a teenager, but it depends on, it's sort of like, I feel maybe children should be taught when it's too far. I think I crossed that line looking back. But yeah, no, I mean, it was just a funny time. Nothing was going on in my life, which was bad. It was just all in my head.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's something that makes sense now, but I guess didn't back then.
Yeah. What was, like, your, where would you turn for comfort? Like, what was your outlet, I guess?
I'd turn to my mum, but that would be less for comfort and more for something like actually asking for help.
Yeah.
Which, like, as I said before, it's really difficult, especially if you've got a young teenager. I'm assuming I'm pretty sure it's incredibly difficult to kind of be like, what do I do? You know, it's kind of, you know, especially since our older generation, they didn't have those kind of resources. You just dealt with it, which is what my mum did. She told me. But when I wasn't looking for that kind of thing, I did writing from about 9. Just anything and everything, and that's what I did.
What was the first thing you remember writing?
I used to write. Well, I used to tell. I used to tell stories to my sister all the time. Well, before I wrote them down, so it was about 8 when I started telling my sister stories. Because we used to do it at night. We used to go into each other's bedrooms and sort of have sleepovers in each other's bedrooms.
Oh, that's so cute.
So, you know, I used to tell all sorts of stories. I think the first ones that I wrote down were sort of jokey ones. Because I think my sister said something like, you should just write it down so I can read it again, which is nice. And they were terrible, but I can't remember exactly what the content of any of them were. I just remember that I thought they were hilarious. I was like, I'm so funny. So funny. And those weren't for anything, like, I wasn't thinking about publishing any of those or anything like that. It was just sort of like for me, just to write down.
When did you think of writing as something more than just, like, something silly?
Well, when I started writing my first novel, which was when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
But that was like, I know that sounds so stupid and kind of, to be honest, a little bit like a novel. It was it turned into that, and it lasted until I was about, I only finished it when I was about 20. So it's like all that just brought me through my teenager.
What's the title?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have a title?
It's untitled, yeah. Oh. But it's, and I'm so shy about telling people about it. I don't know why. I think it's because it's so long. It's been so long where it's just been me. My sister doesn't know about it.
Oh, really?
I mean, she knows that it's there, but she doesn't. No one's ever read it. My mum and dad don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
It's just very difficult to kind of open up about that, I think. When that's been, like, your companion from 13 to, like, 21, it's hard.
That was one of my, like, later questions I was going to ask is what's, like, a constant you've seen throughout your life? Would it be... I mean, that's obviously not throughout your entire life, but it does seem like one of the things you could pick out. Yeah, that was one of the big constants from actually when sort of, I guess, some of my mental health issues started, so 13 onwards. That's when it sort of was just there in the background always, which was nice. And I didn't... Obviously, because it took so many years, I didn't sort of slave away at it or anything because I was doing school. Yeah. But for actually 13, 14, 15, I did sort of just do it all the time. But yeah, it was just a comfort to me. I don't actually think it's ever going to get, you know, anywhere. I don't really think it's like a publishable thing. Is that important to you? Or not really. It used to be. Not anymore, because it's just like that was something that was basically just homed. Like, it taught me so much about writing that's okay. It's enough just to have it like that. But, yeah, who knows? Who knows if anything will ever get on it. Stay tuned. I guess we can talk about uni now, I guess. Yeah. What, like, informed your decision to go to St. Andrews? What led you here, do you think? I've been up... Well, we've visited Scotland as a family since me and Flora were absolute babies. So, I think, 4 months, 5 months old or something. And it's always in the same place, Aviemore, up in the Highlands, near the Cairngorm Mountains. So I'd never been to St Andrews before I thought about going, but I just wanted something completely different. And
I remember, obviously, I think like most mums, if people go here, because barely anyone lives near here, they go like, oh, why do you want to move so far away? Which is understandable, because it is a bit like, hey, I raised you and now you're moving away for 4 years. But I just saw it and knew that I really wanted to go here. It was beautiful, which is one of the reasons why.
So
kind of fell in love with it when we came here. Yeah, I think, to be honest, it was mainly for the buildings, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was the buildings, it's because it was Scotland, and I had so many positive associations with Scotland. It's my favourite place in the world, Aviemore. There's nothing like Aviemore, but it's just sort of, it was really nice to think that I might go to Scotland for uni.
Yeah. Tell me more about Aviemore, like, describe, or, I don't know, what do you remember about, what are your fondest memories?
The walks are stunning, and actually we're going again in September, and it's absolutely my place of comfort. And I think it is for everyone in the family, really. It's just, the walks are beautiful. All we do is just walks, really, and we've got a couple of places we love to go. There's the lochs as well, which are just gorgeous. But, it's the familiarity of it. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, been too long now for me to ever not go, It's always going to be, it's kind of, I suppose, is a constant.
Yeah.
Like you were saying before, it's always been there. I think it always will be, so.
Well, that's lovely. It's very poetic and, and beautiful. What do you cherish most about the last 5 years of your life?
The friends I made at uni, 100%.
That was not a leading question.
No, I was like,
you got it.
Brownie points. No, like genuinely, the friends I made at uni, they're friends for life, which is just wonderful. Also, kind of growing in terms of my attitude to work, because I was ridiculously obsessed with work in A level, so sort of 17, 18. To the extent that I ran out of 2 of my A levels, actually, midway. Really? Yeah. Oh. I just had panic attacks. I was like, can't do this.
Did you finish?
I eventually finished them because it was they kind of filed it as an out of character thing. So they realised I was having a freak out and wasn't sort of cheating or something. But, actually, they could have not let me back in to do them. So I didn't screw them up. Weirdly, I did well. I don't know why, but I did. But it was just ridiculously strange, to be honest, and completely out of character. But I was having anxiety attacks pretty much throughout the whole of my revision. So when I came here, I thought, okay, I've made it, because the reason why the A levels meant so much was because I was thinking, these are the ones that the St Andrews are going to see. And if they're not good enough, they're not going to let me in. So that was sort of the terror that I had, because that was my sort of ticket out of school and, just actually somewhere different, ticket to go somewhere different. So when I got here, it started off that I was really obsessed with work still. But actually, towards the end, I kind of discovered, right now I've discovered 100% it's completely pointless to stress over those sort of things. They're not important.
So stupid.
So stupid.
What made you come to that realization?
Just, there's more important things. Like, I actually do, I didn't have a social life at school, basically. It was just work, and that was all my whole life. And I was aware of that. That was the reason why. But I've just got so much going on now, which hasn't got anything to do with academic work. I'm completely fine with not getting marks, which are full marks and things. And I don't need that kind of affirmation to, feel like I'm a good person because I get good marks. Like, it doesn't matter. Then don't correlate.
Tell me more about the stuff you do that's not academic, because it is quite cool.
The main thing I've done at uni, which I think is my favourite thing that I've done extracurricular, is label. And that's been wonderful just for my confidence and just actually meeting amazing people as well. And that's just a body confidence company, I guess, really, because it just covers so much. It covers press, fashion shows, beauty, like just a whole array of things, which are just all to body positivity. It's wonderful, and mental health. And yeah, doing the magazine for that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just brilliant to do that. And the fashion show was interesting as well. I sometimes look back on that and I think, how could I have done that? Like,
I know, when I was looking for pictures on this, I almost chose one from from the fashion show. Because you were a model. What, like, made you want to try out, or, like, what made you be like, I want to model?
Definitely, definitely, my scar. So I have, like, this massive, I think it's a massive scar on my torso from emergency surgery. It was quite major, to remove a tumour. And after that, it was like, it doesn't look good. And, people are so nice about it, and I don't mind it at all now, but I did at the time, and it was just, they were talking about just having people who looked different, or not even looked different, in any kind of, like, freak kind of way. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's just, like, people who are not necessarily kind of the typical standard of models, which is so unrealistic.
Yeah. And
it's a ridiculous standard in normal magazines. So it was nice to kind of be part of something to kind of show people, if you have scars, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
You're still beautiful. You can still do things like this, and it's not, you don't have to hide them necessarily. Yeah.
What was it like being on stage, strutting your stuff? Like,
weird. Actually at the time, it was nice because you were with friends who were walking with you, and I've been on stage a few times before because I liked drama actually at school. So I didn't sort of think it was terrifying. Actually, I was pretty chilled about it because I knew that if I fell over in heels or something, it was going to be fine. No one was going to laugh and point. No one was going to be angry at me. So it was quite nice and relaxed, actually. A bit of a buzz, though, because when I went on in my underwear, it was just after the break, and I was the first one on, so I was like, just got to do this, rile myself up. But yeah, it was just a buzz, really.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about your work with cancer research?
Oh, yeah. I founded the Cancer Research Society here, actually. Actually, funny enough, my arms are really aching right now because yesterday I was doing a collection, and it was great, and it's lovely, but people are really generous, locals particularly here, so they're throwing coins into the bucket like they're change and stuff, which is fabulous, but my arms were literally like, next time I'm bringing a table so I can just put it on. But yeah, we do just fundraising stuff, and that's been really nice, just to meet people who've been affected by cancer. I to clarify, I did not have cancer, and that's always something I want to clarify, because it's completely, you can't understand unless you've had it, obviously. But I've met people who have had it and who have been closely affected by it, and it's kind of wonderful to have that unity again, and just fight for a cause. So
what led you to be like, okay, I'm starting this in St. Andrews? Because starting a society here, it is quite difficult. Just keeping it up and getting more people involved. And
for me, it was definitely 100% it was the surgery that I went through, because it was borderline cancer, which just means it's not cancer. It just means that it's got lots of funky cells in the tumour, which, if it had just been left there,
could have developed.
Quite possibly could have developed. So it's kind of a misleading title, but they had no idea when they got it out. And I did think, after I got the results, obviously we were completely thrilled, because it meant that it was just out. I didn't have to go through any of the terrible things that people with cancer have to go through. But I did think it so easily could have been the other way around. And the tumour was so enormous that it's just like, it would have been pretty bad.
Kind of catastrophic.
It's always bad if it's cancer, but it would have been pretty dreadful.
Yeah.
As it always is. So, it was just kind of remarkable to think that I was okay, but also to think, oh my God, there are girls who genuinely get terrible news.
Yeah.
And that's 100% worse, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I thought I do have to do something because, you know, I've kind of opened my eyes to how quickly your life can change and how terrible it could have been if it had been the other way.
Yeah.
So,
what are you most proud of from your years at uni as they are coming to a close?
Most proud of, I mean, I am proud of the stuff I've done with label, and, you know, I think there's certain sections, like the fashion show, I guess I'm proud of myself that I did that. But I think the thing mostly, to be honest, I think founding the Cancer Research Society is really rewarding for me just because I get to see it continue afterwards and hopefully for a long time afterwards, which would be wonderful. So it's nice, that's kind of like my baby, you know, that I started just by myself. So yeah, that's the thing I'd say I'm most proud of, really.
Yeah. What do you see for yourself in the future? What do you want to see for yourself?
Yeah, it changes quite a lot, actually, to be honest, which I'm trying to keep flexible with it, to be honest, and not have many expectations, because I've heard, anyway, from, you know, I know it sounds silly, but even, like, watching videos and things of people kind of saying what they would say to their 20-year-old self when they're 30 and things like that, when, you know, you're supposed to kind of have your life sorted at 30.
That's a myth.
Yeah. And they always said just keep your expectations quelled, because the thing is, often if you're set on having certain you can have standards, but kind of having these goals, these really high up goals, are great. But if nothing kind of different will do, you can kind of restrict yourself, apparently.
Yeah.
Just because you kind of ignore things that actually you might be better at, or, you know, you kind of disappoint yourself because nothing's working out perfectly, because in your head all your goals are perfect, you know. So I'm trying to keep that kind of on the low, but I mean, hopefully something of mine will be published, and if I can live off that, that's incredible. But that's kind of the goal, I guess, and if not, then maybe something better. But yeah, I guess I see myself in the future just probably still living in London and hopefully having something published. Yeah. Would be nice.
That's awesome. Is there anything from your past or anything that you didn't talk about that you would like to?
Actually, no, you've been really good at covering everything. And things just cropped up that I kind of forgot that were even part of it. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it for now. It's quite short, isn't it, really?
No, I mean, you are also 22. So
that's what I mean. My past is, like, quite short. I've done a lot.
I mean, I think part of why I want to do this is also, I think history has, like, a very daunting connotation. It has to be grand. It has to be generally white and male. It has to be, like, it has to be either far away, but I don't know. We ignore a lot of the personal, like, the small histories that are no less important, but...
Yeah, no, I think you're right. To be honest, it's like, I just feel like you're right. I think it's so much pressure to kind of do everything so grand, and that's just not how life is, even if it's painted that way.
And it's the most hard to connect with, I find. The most general things, you're like horoscopes. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, it makes sense, but it's those, like, the most specific instances, like someone's story that is so specific that you connect with the most.
Yeah. I love reading other people's stories, actually. It's... When you said you were doing this, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a pretty nosy person, so I'm just like, I want to know everything about your past.
Part of my intrigue as well.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Sure.
It might be a daunting one, I don't know. But what is the biggest lesson you've learned from your life so far? What's your biggest takeaway at 22 years old?
Oh, see, as soon as I say something, I'll go home and be like, oh, I should have said that.
I can write an addendum to your post.
I think, well, one of the main things I've discovered, which I'm really trying hard to work on, is not to overthink things. One of the reasons that I did an English Lit degree was because I'm quite practiced in just reading into stuff way too much, and that's not how life is, and it's sometimes easy to kind of get carried away and with your imagination. So yeah, number one lesson that I'm still trying to sort of follow through with is just don't overthink things. Just let things flow more.
Nice. Perfect. Well, thank you for chatting with me.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's about it.